Okay. So it is Friday, like I said, and I know I have a lesson planned for you guys to kind of summarize everything we've been working on for the whole week. You guys got started on a new book. It won't start today. It will start on Monday. Okay, your new book will start on Monday. It's a long way down, and it's a poem. So it's just a really long poem, and it kind of has a story in it. And I think you guys will really, really like it. It's kind of complicated, and it's a complicated story of an individual has to make a really deep decision, and it's kind of a good book. I don't want to spoil it for you at all, so I'll leave that for you guys on Monday. But today we're gonna kind of my goal for today is to show you this screen here, and this is kind of what I wanted to focus on today, and I can make it bigger. Today we're doing English language arts, and there's my name, and we're going to make sure that you guys have your materials for right now. You guys need to know that your pencils are there. You locate your pencils, locate your notebook. You will be working on some writing today. I know yesterday we did some poetry. You guys did excellent job on that. So just continue on the same page, or turn the page and continue in your composition book. Make sure you have that handy. Today we're going to be reviewing literary devices again. We're going to watch a video about descriptive writing. Then we're going to review some of this descriptive words that we use to describe nouns and verbs. So those are kind of like a review on adverbs and adjectives. And then to kind of sum it all up, we're going to look at an event in history. You guys are going to respond to the video, and then hopefully we'll get to share out at the end. So hold on one second. I think we have a visitor. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to continue to share my screen, and we have the first part we're going to do is let's just go over. You guys have notes, but we're going to go over 4 literary devices. You guys remember hyperbole, right? Purpose is to create a larger than life effect. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I need to mute, please. Ms. Ramirez, can you mute, please? Thank you. So hyperbole is, you know, a couple of examples. I've seen this movie a million times. You know, probably you haven't seen it a million times, but it's kind of has this effect that kind of lets the reader know, or lets the listener know, hey, it's a specific point. This backpack weighs a ton, and you're the best teacher in the world. So does anybody have another example of a hyperbole? I want to just check to see if you guys have the understanding. No? What, can you give me an example of hyperbole? Anybody? How about somebody from 300? Can you guys, RC 400 is up. 400 is up. Go, come on up. What's an example of hyperbole? Can you give your own example? I'm sorry? Oh, schools is boring as a test. Okay, so that would not be hyperbole. Okay, that's a simile. You're using a comparison between two things to, you know, to make a comparison. It's boring, like a test is boring. How about somebody from 300? 300, you have an example for a hyperbole? The school's killing me, okay? Probably not killing you, but yeah, you get the point. It's kind of expresses your feelings, right? It gives a point to what you're feeling like. I understand. I totally get it. Okay, I'm gonna go back to share the screen. Hyperbole means you make an exaggeration. Okay, you exaggerate the point. Okay.
We could do a hyperbole like Mr. Renato seems to have 1,000 dogs.
Correct. Let's see here. Let me expand this out. All right, so, oops. Okay, hyperbole. Then we have a metaphor. A metaphor is used to emphasize the qualities of something by comparing it to something else to make a deeper meaning with a more powerful effect. I have this example here. Mr. Granado controls his students very well. Okay, he controls his students. Versus if I use a metaphor, I can say his students are puppets on a string and he is the puppet master. You see the effect there? It gives a deeper understanding. It draws a picture in your mind of what it means to control your students. Okay? So metaphor is something that we worked on yesterday as well. So this is review. Let's take a look at similes. Somebody gave the example of a simile. I wanted you guys to see if you can't fill in the blank here. It says a comparison between two things using like or as. So I have a fill in the blank. Yeah, do you guys, it's just verbally. Can you guys maybe try to think about and then volunteer a fill in the blank?
We can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it? Let me make it bigger.
Oh, it's a blank screen.
Oh, no. It's a blank screen? How about now? Do you see that now? So go ahead and try to compare the flames. What are the flames like? I kind of threw it out there. The flames were like, anybody? Can't really hear. I hope I'm not having technical issues. Is the screen showing, Miss B?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Okay, so the flames were like skyscrapers. They rose up into the sky. Okay? So I'm not going to fill in the blank for you guys, but I'm giving you an example of using similes. We're using like or as. Yes. Anybody want to share one? Okay, the flames were like a sun. Very, very hot, right? And I get you. The flames were like as hot as the sun. Very good. Okay, so next device, literary device, is personification. So personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or animal is given a human ability. Okay, so love is blind, right? Love is blind. That's when people usually go blind. I mean, animals can go blind too, but to give love a human quality, to say love is blind, that's the use of personification, okay? I have the example, death was knocking at the door, okay? Death doesn't knock, that's what people do. And the last example I showed here is the words jumped off the page. Words don't jump, right? People do. So that's that. I'm gonna show you guys a video now, and it's gonna be about descriptive writing. Pay close attention to the ideas of metaphor and simile, and how we use personification and hyperbole to make our points. Okay, those are the that's what I want you guys to focus on the video. Let's go back. Let's see. Let me share this thing.
We read fiction for many reasons. To be entertained, to find out whodunit, to travel to strange new planets, to be scared, to laugh, to cry, to think, to feel, to be so absorbed that for a while we forget where we are. So, how about writing fiction? How do you suck your readers into your stories? With an exciting plot? Maybe. Fascinating characters? Probably. Beautiful language? Perhaps. Billy's legs are noodles. The ends of her hair are poison needles. Her tongue is a bristly sponge, and her eyes are bags of bleach. Did that description almost make you feel as queasy as Billy? We grasp that Billy's legs aren't actually noodles. To Billy, they feel as limp as cooked noodles. It's an implied comparison, a metaphor. So, why not simply write it like this? Billy feels nauseated and weak. Chances are, the second description wasn't as vivid to you as the first. The point of fiction is to cast a spell, a momentary illusion that you are living in the world of the story. Fiction engages the senses, helps us create vivid mental simulacra of the experiences the characters are having. Stage and screen engage some of our senses directly. We see and hear the interactions of the characters and the setting. But with prose fiction, all you have is static symbols on a contrasting background. If you describe the story in matter-of-fact, non-tactile language, the spell risks being a weak one. Your reader may not get much beyond interpreting the squiggles. She will understand what Billy feels like, but she won't feel what Billy feels. She'll be reading, not immersed in the world of the story, discovering the truths of Billy's life at the same time that Billy herself does. Fiction plays with our senses: taste, smell, touch, hearing, sight, and the sense of motion. It also plays with our ability to abstract and make complex associations. Look at the following sentence. The world was ghost quiet, except for the crack of sails and the burbling of water against hull. The words quiet, crack, and burbling engage the sense of hearing. Notice that Bacall doesn't use the generic word, sound. Each word he chooses evokes a particular quality of sound. Then, like an artist laying on washes of color to give the sense of texture to a painting, he adds another layer, motion, the crack of sails, and touch, the burbling of water against hull. Finally, he gives us an abstract connection by linking the word quiet with the word ghost. Not quiet as a ghost, which would put a distancing layer of simile between the reader and the experience. Instead, Bacall creates the metaphor ghost quiet for an implied rather than overt comparison. Writers are always told to avoid cliches because there's very little engagement for the reader in an overused image such as red as a rose, but give them love began on a beach. It began that day when Jacob saw Annette in her stewed cherry dress. And their brains engage in the absorbing task of figuring out what a stewed cherry dress is like. Suddenly, they're on a beach about to fall in love. They're experiencing the story at both a visceral and a conceptual level. meeting the writer halfway in the imaginative play of creating a dynamic world of the senses. So when you write, use well-chosen words to engage sound, sight, taste, touch, smell, and movement. Then create unexpected connotations among your story elements and set your readers' brushfire imaginations alight.
Okay, so what we see is when we use our senses, when we write using our senses of touch, of smell, of taste, sound, we can engage the reader and help them to use their senses so they feel what the writer is feeling. Does that make sense? That makes sense? So we want to use this descriptive writing and we want to use imagery, okay? So we're going to get a chance to do that, but before we do, let me go over another thing really quick. I gotta go back here. So we're kind of looking at this video. We looked at hyperbole, simile, personification. We looked at this video. Now I wanted to do a little bit of review on the grammar, okay? So in this grammar review, we're looking at adverbs and adjectives. Let me make it bigger. It looks like I got a little bit of something's in the way here. But the adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. For example, my sister drives carefully. Carefully ends with ly, and it's an adverb, and it's modifying how she drives. So it describes how the sister is driving, and that's the verb. So when adverbs modify the verb, it gives a better description of the verb. Does that make sense? Okay. When we use adjectives, we modify the pronouns or nouns, right? We say, he was tired after the race, or Mike was tired after the race. Mike is the noun, and he was tired. We're describing Mike. So the adjective modifies or lets the reader know, describes Mike's feelings, okay? Now you could definitely go above and beyond and use your imagery to kind of make these sentences less boring and more intriguing. Okay, but I want to give you guys some practice on identifying the difference between an adverb and an adjective. So I got a couple of exercises here for you guys. It's really quick. It says the cheese on the cracker tastes. How does the cheese on the cracker taste? What are we modifying? We're modifying the cracker, right? So that's a noun. So we're going to use strange. The cheese on the cracker tastes strange. The cheese tastes strange, right? So the strange modifies the cheese. It describes how the cheese tastes. Okay, so that is an adjective. We're going to use strange. We're not going to use strangely on that one. On the next one, here's a compliment now. It says, you print so, how does she print? Or how does he print? He prints so neatly, right? Print, when printing or print, to print is a verb. So when you describe the printing or how the printing is done, we want to use the adverb neatly, ly. Okay, so that's just some clarity there for you guys between the difference between adverbs and adjectives. And I didn't want to overwhelm you and give you a whole bunch of exercises on this, but here's one more. Don arrived prompt or promptly at 10 o'clock. Who can choose the right answer? Let me get a volunteer. Is it Don arrived prompt or Don arrived promptly at 10 o'clock?
suggesting that if you change the placement of the comma, you change the answer.
Oh,
Right now, you're modifying his arrival, right? So it's promptly.
right.
But if you put John arrived, comma, prompt at 10 o'clock, you're saying he was prompt, and prompt would be appropriate.
I see. Okay, so yeah. Where you put the comma and it's going to depend on what, whether it's the verb that's being modified or if the noun is being modified. So very good. Just some really particular things about English. These are the kind of the tricky things that we know these rules. We can use these rules, and it makes our writing much better, goes more smoother, and I think the reader can read it without it being so awkward. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, now we're about halfway there. I got a couple of videos here, so I got to highlight since I guess they're not linking yet. So I want to highlight here. So let me cue up this video. And what I want you to do here is just kind of take it all in. This is a historical history event.
The ill-fated Hindenburg on her last flight sails over New York. These pictures, made from a Pathé News plane less than 4 hours before the tragedy, show the world's largest airship heading for Lakehurst, New Jersey. Over Newark's famous Little Skyway, the airship was hailed by thousands who little dreamed it was their final glimpse of the Hindenburg. Inside the silver envelope are 16 separate gas bags, each filled with hydrogen, a highly inflammable gas. From the ground, you can see the forward control cabin from which the ship is operated. The windows along the side indicate the location of the passengers' quarters, in which many were carried to a flaming death. Approaching Lakehurst, the Hindenburg appeared a conquering giant in the skies, but she proved a puny plaything in the mighty grip of fate. It almost seemed as if fate had set the stage for the horrible tragedy. A graceful craft sailing serenely to her doom. For 3 hours, the dirigible circled the landing field at Lakehurst, New Jersey, dumping more water ballast than ever before in vain efforts to level off. Again she dumps ballast, and a nervous tension grips those who are watching, for this is something unusual. There goes more ballast, but the tail is settling in spite of all that has been dumped. A grim note of impending tragedy. Finally, the landing lines are dropped. These scenes were filmed by Pathé News cameraman William Deek, and you're about to see the pictures he got when the ship exploded. Those aboard leaping for life from a flaming inferno. The actual crash of the Hindenburg. An airship destroyed in less than half a minute. reveals the extent of the disaster. An inferno which became a flaming tomb. A twisted mass of girders. The seared and scorched skeleton of what was once a mighty airship. But Hindenburg has gone. She represented man's latest attempt to conquer the Atlantic by air. Her tragedy will not halt the march of progress. From her ashes will arise the knowledge. From her fate, the lesson that will lead to a greater and a better means of mastering the air. If so, her dead will not have died in vain.
Okay. Wow, pretty dramatic pictures. So I'm gonna show you guys the same video. It's another video. It's just the last part. It's gonna be in color. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to imagine that you were there. I want you to try to think what would you have seen, what would you have heard, what would you have smelled. Think of the imagery, maybe some personification, literary devices that we've talked about, some hyperbole, and I want you to write. I want you to write these down. Did you want to say something, Ms. B?
I just wanted to add, some of you might have seen that footage before, or parts of it. That is real. That did happen. It's not just like a movie or something. So it's something to keep in mind. It was a huge disaster when it happened. I guess you guys are probably too young to remember 9/11, but
Similar effects, right? Similar effects to the national psyche or the world. Really, this is what was going to be. Those ships took over basically what airliners or cruise liners were. So they were able to, instead of the Titanic, you can go on a big giant blimp, a Zeppelin, and you can get there in half the time. So this was this was the means of travel in that day, and this was a tragic event. Not everybody died in that event, though. I don't know if you can see, and I'll show you again the video. You can see little people running away from the crash wreckage. They look like ants. Okay, so maybe what I want you to do is in 1 or 2 paragraphs, one for sure. We're going to show the video again, and then I want you to be thinking about, even if you want to start with outlining it, you can outline what descriptions are you going to use, maybe what literary devices you're going to use. Come up with a short paragraph. I mean, paragraph is 5 to 10 sentences long, and try to give me a description of what you've witnessed there. Okay. I'm going to show it again. It's going to be in color, so hopefully maybe that'll give you a little bit better, view. Okay, so let's watch it one more time, and then you guys know what the expectations are. You guys are going to create your own description of what you see. Okay, and hopefully we get a chance to share it out. So let's watch it one more time in color. So like I said, suppose you were on the ground that day. I want you to express your experience in great detail. In 1 or 2 paragraphs, use your knowledge of literary devices, of imagery, and the senses to describe the event you have just witnessed. So let's see, without, hopefully it's a short video. It's only going to be 1 minute because it happened really fast. Okay.
It's starting to rain again. The rain has slacked up a little bit. The attacking orders of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it from. It bursts into flames. Get it, Johnny. Get it, Johnny. It's flying and it's crashing. It's crashing terrible. Oh my! Get out of the way, please. It's burning, bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring fast, and all the folks agree that this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's like 20, oh, 400 or 500 feet into the sky, and it's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. It's smoke and it's flames now, and the plane was crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. Oh, the humanity and all the passengers feeding around it. I told you, I can't talk to people and space around there. I can't talk, ladies and gentlemen. Honest, it's just laying down massive smoking wreckage. And everybody can hardly breathe and talk and screaming. Lady, I'm sorry. Honestly, I can hardly breathe. I'm going to step inside where I cannot see it. Charlie, that's terrible. Listen, folks, I'm going to have to stop for a minute because I lost the voice. This is the worst thing I've ever witnessed.
Okay, so Hindenburg. Let's see, this is the Hindenburg. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys the paragraph, and let me see if I can give you guys some a word bank. I'm gonna give you guys a word bank. Maybe this will help with writing. But I give you guys a word bank, and then here's another. I was gonna say I'm giving you guys another exercise. So we got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 9. It should be 10. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, probably missing one. But what I was hoping you guys can do is maybe fill in the blanks here. See if you can't fill in the blanks. And I think the last word that I have on there should be, let's see. So go ahead and write your paragraph. And if you're having trouble starting the paragraph, you can use one of these sentence frames to help you in your own writing. Now remember, I want you guys to use at least 3 out of the 4 literary devices that we discussed at the beginning. So you got to have some similes, some metaphors, personification, and hyperbole. Okay? So remember, hyperbole is an exaggeration. A metaphor is a comparison without using like or as. And a personification is giving unhuman, non-human things human characteristics. Okay. And then hyperbole is just an exaggeration. So you guys go ahead and go ahead and fill this out. I'm going to give you guys some time to do this. Okay. Hopefully, I'll give you guys 10 minutes. I'll give you guys 10 minutes. We'll go to 9:52, and then we'll come back. I'll play some little soft music in the background. I want you guys to be writing your paragraphs. If you guys want to work on filling in the blanks here, go right ahead. Use these as kind of like to help you fill in your paragraphs where it might be a little bit shaky. Okay, so there it is there. So normally I would be walking around the classroom, checking students' work, kind of giving support, seeing what's needed. But we're on COVID, so it's kind of difficult to get that feedback right away. But we'll be doing the share out, so hopefully that will help with getting some feedback to the students. right, guys. If there's anybody that would like to go, we're gonna do a quick share out. We got about 10 minutes. You should have 1 or 2 paragraphs. It should invoke some imagery. Yes, I hear my name. You want to go first? 300.
Oh, no.
Oh, any questions? Any questions? Go ahead.
I have for you is that if you can go back real fast because some of the girls at 300 didn't get, the full done.
Okay. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, and so let me share my screen again. Thank you for letting me know. I hope this is the screen you're referring to. Okay, that was 2 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop the share, and I'm gonna see if maybe we can get some volunteers, okay? So the goal was for you guys to write descriptively using literary devices, using imagery, and I gave you guys this prompt, watching these 2 videos, horrific events, and sometimes when we see things happen, we got to be able to explain ourselves in great detail. So I see 400. I see some hands in 400. So let's get 400 up. Let me hear your 1 or 2 paragraphs. Hey, that's right. So you basically, what you did, you used the sentence
Mr.
frames.
Renato, you're muted.
So I see you use the sentence frames, you use the word bank. Did anybody create their own description? Oh, I see 400. Go ahead in the back, young man. Let's make it what did you see if you were there?
I was watching the clip in the air that they keep falling like a shooting star and caught fire. The thing was intense and everyone went rushing over there like zebras to help people.
I see you use simile. Very good. You use simile, and I didn't notice if you used some hyperbole, but there was a chance to use some exaggeration. You know, in the word bank they used the word deafening, right? There was an explosion. It was deafening. It almost made you go deaf. That's how large the explosion was. And I think in the video we did hear bang, bang, right? Some onomatopoeia. So anybody else? How about 500? I see 500. Let's get somebody from 500. No, okay. Well, somebody else from 400. Somebody else from 400. I see your hand. Come on up.
bits of metal material were coming from the aircraft. The strong fire of burning carried for miles and the heat was insane.
Okay. Go ahead, guys. Go through your readings, and I want you guys to check to see if you are using the literary devices, at least 4 of them. Okay. Simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole. Okay. I want you guys to use these literary devices. I know you guys use the descriptions, you use adjectives, you use adverbs. That's perfect. But I want you guys to go a little bit deeper. Okay. In the writing, it's a chance to go to kind of spice it up a bit. Okay. Throw some flavor in there. Okay. Don't make it so bland like we talked about before. Okay. So go read through your stuff. Tell me, and I want you to analyze your own paragraph. I want you to highlight if you used a metaphor. I want you to underline where you used a metaphor. If you use simile, I want you to look at your paragraph. Where is the simile at? And you should be able to check mark at least 3 to 4 things, right? Simile, metaphor, personification, and hyperbole. Okay? You guys got about 4 more minutes, so you guys got a chance to redo it. If you haven't already done it, now's your chance. Okay, you guys got some extra time here. So revise, review, and revise your work. I want you guys to get those in, get those literary devices in. We in the video on the TED Ed, it talked about being nauseated and felt sick. That's not a good description. We want to go deeper in there. The legs were like noodles. The legs were uncooked noodles, or whatever the video talked about. It gave a better description. The cherry red dress on the beach, they gave a vivid description. Okay, I want you guys to look at your work. I want you to go through and make sure you have those literary devices. Okay? That's what's going to make the difference between, hey, I got the lesson, I understood it, to, oh, I didn't understand what he was talking about. Okay, I need to know that you guys are able to do this. Okay, we will be looking at these notebooks. So, couple more minutes. I see 400 working. 500. I didn't hear anybody from 500 yet, but did you guys go through and check to see if you have your literary devices within your work? Perfect. I see the thumbs up. All right. Anybody else from 300? Did you guys use your literary devices to write your paragraph? Okay, now's your chance to do it. Okay? You go through. You can add a sentence in there. You can maybe cross it out, add something else in there. Maybe you have a chance to rewrite it. This is your time to review and revise. Okay.